Well, let's just kick this off with a little anecdote. I was leaving my office with a coworker earlier today, and she asked me why I was limping. Really, I'm limping? I hadn't noticed. Well, my foot hurts. Well, what happened to your foot? What did you do to it? Well, I'm not really sure what I did to it. It just kind of always hurts. So got me thinking, what did I do to my foot other than walk on it for 60 years? And that might be really all that's wrong with it. So the first thing that I did to my foot, and this goes back a long time ago, was on a Girl Scout camping trip. There were a bunch of us, we probably were about 10 or 12 years old, and we went on this camping trip. And it was great. It was probably in Poolsville or someplace really far away, at least it seemed far away to me at the time. And they had a barn. And the barn had a loft, and the loft had hay. And we were climbing up the ladder and jumping out the window into the pile of hay. Over and over, like lemmings, right? Climbing off the cliff. Because if one person does it, all of us have to do it. Well, everybody else did it just fine, except for me. I landed wrong, and I sprained my ankle. Didn't know I'd sprained my ankle right away. We had to go to the suburban hospital and sit in the emergency room, and they took x-rays, the whole 9 yards. And it took years and years before, I'd get up in the morning and it'd be this stiff part in the bottom of my foot, and I'd have to work it around and figure out what was going on with it. I had been taking ballet at the time. I thought maybe I'd make a career as a dancer. That was gone. I ended up taking up the flute instead. 50 years later, I still play the flute and I don't dance. But I kept trying to do something interesting and athletic with my feet. So the next thing was, a number of years later, I was at Yale, and they have this lovely ice skating rink called the Whale. It's done by Eero Saarinen. We may know his work from Dulles Airport. So it actually looks like this huge whale sitting in the middle of the campus. And I'm doing these spins and, these jumps, and landed wrong, messed up my knee. That's not what hurts now, but I wonder if something about that knee may be affecting the foot. I lived on the 5th floor with no elevator. Going up wasn't so bad, but anybody who's ever had a foot or knee injury knows that going down is absolutely the worst. And it was icy that winter, and it was miserable. And it took years and years before I could get out of bed without having to massage the knee and figure out, why does my knee hurt? Well, but I knew why my knee hurt, because I messed it up skating. And then maybe it was just the bad shoes. I bought this pair of shoes, and I used them for jogging and Zumba and all these other things. And they actually did hurt my feet. But I couldn't find another pair of shoes, or I was too cheap to buy another pair of shoes. So I just kept wearing those shoes. And well, eventually I got rid of them, but my foot still hurts. I think maybe it's just getting older, and it just stinks to get older. Or maybe it's that it just doesn't heal anymore after it heal. Really, this heel doesn't heal anymore. It really starts getting older. But it also made me think about my mother-in-law. When my mother-in-law first came here a number of years ago, she's passed away about 10 years ago, but when she was getting on in years, I said, she was complaining about all the aches and pains. I'm like, I have all these aches and pains. She says, you always have aches and pains. At a certain age, you just have aches and pains. I said, well, I hope you feel better. I hope you live to 120. She looked at me. This sounds a little like Menashe's speech. She says, oh, I hope not. I'm thinking, is this what I have to look forward to? It might be true. So my friend says, so why don't you take something for it? Why don't you see a doctor? Thinking, okay, I could see a doctor. I'm going to call their office, and they're going to say it's 2 months before we can make an appointment to see you. Well, if my foot still hurts in 2 months, that's great, but hopefully it won't. And if I do make an appointment, it'll stop hurting. So maybe that's a reason to make an appointment. We all know that as soon as you call the doctor, it stops. I don't know. Just one of those things. So I haven't done anything about it, and I don't know exactly what it is, and it still hurts, and I still limp on it. And I find that if I exercise it, it gets better. And if I sit for too long, I get up and start limping, and everybody looks at me and says, what did you do to your foot? And I say, start over again. What haven't I done to my foot? Thank you.